The ultimate step-by-step guide to virtually wholesaling real estate. Virtually wholesaling real estate is essentially doing real estate deals that are away from you, that are outside your state or outside your city, where you're not actually physically going into a property or into a house to look at a deal or to meet a seller. You're doing everything essentially from your computer. And people do this all the time to just buy real estate, and you can actually do this with wholesaling real estate. So you can be successful and make tons of money. So in today's video, I have a step-by-step guide. Make sure you take notes on how to virtually wholesale real estate where you can actually be successful in this field. Make sure you all like this video, comment down below if you have any questions, and be sure to subscribe. So the number one step that you have to do in order to successfully virtually wholesale real estate is to research different markets. I have different videos on how to choose a city and the best cities to choose, how to find zip codes for your wholesale real estate, where investors are flocking to buy cash deals in order to flip or hold rentals. And so please be sure to look at my channel, but I'll just give a quick summary on how to research markets and where to look for and what to actually look for in a city to see if it's prime for wholesaling real estate. So one, you have to see job growth. Are there jobs coming into this area, into this market? Is there a good population growth? And also, is the median home price at a relatively affordable price range? Because you can go to New York City and you can wholesale there, but doing it virtually, unless you have a ton of capital to deploy, yes, you can do it, but I wouldn't start there for my virtual market. You know, I want to go to a place that is up and coming or is more modern, where people are actually used to a lot of virtual transaction. And so I don't like super old cities if I'm virtually wholesaling, because maybe those type of residents prefer the face-to-face contact. And so you probably get a lot of that in the South, but if you're up north or on the West Coast, people are used to just technology and everything like that. It can definitely still work in the South 100%, especially as more and more cities become modern. But those are different data points I would look into when I'm choosing a market. All right, number two is related to research, but I would talk to other investors. I would talk to other wholesalers. So I would join Facebook groups. Once I decide, okay, this is a good city, I heard of this city before. So for example, let's just think of a city. I'm thinking of like Atlanta, Georgia. You know, you looked up Atlanta, you saw that it's growing in population and job growth. Now you're going to join different real estate investing groups about Atlanta. So you're going to talk to investors, you're going to talk to wholesalers, you're going to just see if what kind of activity is happening on these Facebook groups. Because if there's not a ton of activity, I want to say it's a telltale sign that this is not a good market to virtually wholesale. But I think activity shows that people are actually doing deals, people are looking for deals, and things are going on in that market. So I would join Facebook groups, and that's where I will find my cash buyer, right? I'll start looking for cash buyers when I'm doing that. You know, I'll get to know the best zip codes, the best cities, you know, in those groups, and you can ask all those questions or just look up previous posts in that Facebook group. And you can do that using your search item on Facebook groups. It's a really good tool that a lot of people don't use, but it's a good tool to see previous posts that are relating to what you're looking for. All right, number three, third step is to hire. H-I-R-E. Yes, hire. You need to hire people in that market or in that town. So whether you are working with a realtor or you're working with another investor or you're JVing, joint venturing, partnering with another wholesaler, you need boots on the ground, right? You need people who are there to meet with the seller, to take pictures, to take videos, to meet with cash buyers. And so you need to hire someone in that market. Another thing is that even if you don't hire someone, you can hire different individual people, Craigslist, and you just have to vet them out the best way possible. I've done that once. Like, I was looking at a property that was a couple hours away from me, and I wasn't going to drive to see that property. And so what I did, I vetted someone on Craigslist, and I had them go to that property and take pictures, and I sent them money on Venmo, right? And you can do something like that. Like with virtual wholesaling real estate, you don't need a ton from your boots on. You do need a boots on ground. It's great to have them, but as long as you have someone, you know, because you're doing a lot of things virtually, right? You're understanding a deal. You're like, okay, once you get a deal, you know, you hire that person, they just take pictures, and you can gauge the condition of the property and based off of what the seller told you. And even signing the contract, that's done virtually. And so I would say though, if you really don't want to hire someone, or you're scared of doing that, or you just can't find someone, I think the only main thing is just taking pictures of the property. You can have the seller do that, or you can have someone else do that. But I like hiring a realtor or an agent to go to that property and to actually walk the property and look at the property. Now, virtually wholesaling real estate is not something that I do in my business, but just learning from other wholesalers. And for example, doing like what I said I did before with hiring someone off of Craigslist to do something. And so virtual wholesaling is very similar to regular wholesaling. It's just a few simple tweaks that you just have to make in your business in order to make it virtual. All right, so once you have your market and you went on Facebook groups and you connected with other investors and you know the best zip codes and you hired someone, next is that you have to pull a list from that market. So you can use a software like PropStream. If you all are interested in PropStream, you use my link below, you get a 7 free day trial. But on that website, you can find discounted properties, off-market properties, and you pull that list and you mark it. So whether you're going to send mails, whether you're going to cold call, whether you're going to run PPC in that area, all these different types of marketing techniques you can push out to that market in order to close or talk to sellers. And that comes to the fifth step, is to talk to sellers and to put properties under contract. So doing it virtually, let's say you have a postcard and you mail it out to an area, and obviously it's not you physically going to a place and handing it to different sellers or putting it in their mailbox. This is all done virtually. There are different websites that you can use to do that. But let's say someone calls the number off your postcard, it goes directly to you, which you're hundreds or thousands of miles away, and you can answer that and be like, yeah, we buy homes in this area. And then from there you can talk about the property, see if it's a deal, and if it's a deal, you put them under contract. But before putting them under contract, I would make sure the seller's really real about talking about the property. So if I hire a realtor or I get a realtor, I'll be like, hey, you can go to the property, see if the floors are a little bit uneven, roof condition, and different things like that, because a lot of times the sellers are not 100% on the condition of the property. And so I do prefer maybe partnering with another wholesaler or another investor or a realtor for a deal in order to understand and gauge a property. So that would be the fifth step, is to, put the property under contract. But before you do that, make sure you take pictures and understand the condition of the property. Also, along with the fifth step is putting them under contract, is to have the seller sign the paper, the agreement, right? And you can do that by emailing that to your boots on ground, the person that you have working in that market, and then printing it off and going to the person, having them to sign it. Or let's just try to keep this as virtual as possible. You can send it virtually through different websites like DocuSign. I just made a video recently about how to send contracts virtually through DocuSign, so please be sure to check out that video. But yeah, it just sends it to their email and they click a button and it signs for them. And those are legally binding signatures that you can still use at title companies, attorneys' offices to close real estate deals. All right, the sixth step is to find a cash buyer. And hopefully when you're in these Facebook groups and you're just talking with people, you're trying to find boots on ground, you have gotten a list of people who are in the real estate market. And yeah, finding cash buyer is simple. You can do it in so many different ways. You can ask your realtor if you're working with a realtor, or you can ask other wholesalers, or you could pull a list from PropStream, and from PropStream you can actually find cash buyers directly on that website, and you can call them or email them or send a letter to see if they are buying houses in that area. Now, the seventh step is to find a title company. How to find a wholesaler friendly title company. All you have to do is go on Google, and in that city, in that zip code, in that market, put in Atlanta title companies, or Atlanta's kind of a big city, so you have to really narrow it down to a title company that's closer to your market or to the area, or even the property that's the city that it's in. And so I would just call them up and be like, hey, do you do assignments on contracts? If they say no, they're not the title company you work with. If they say yes, you work with them. And some states are attorneys. I don't know if Georgia's attorney or title company, but it's the same process. Just call them up and see if they do that. And then once you have all the paperwork together, you have a cash buyer contract between you and your cash buyer, and then you have your contract between you and the seller, then that all to the title company. They process it, they close on it, and they send you their money. And then once again, this can be done virtually, right? They can send you a wire or they can mail you a check, whatever you want. So this is a step-by-step guide on how to virtually wholesale real estate. Essentially, it's how to wholesale real estate yard, but maybe you're just using softwares and maybe talking to or having boots on ground in another differences. You just gotta market well and see if sellers are there, wholesaling properties, and or if it's hopefully it's not overly or you don't need a ton of capital, especially in the beginning if you don't have a lot of money that you have to deploy. And so those are the differences between virtually wholesaling and wholesaling in person. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you have any questions about virtual wholesale real estate, and also like this video and subscribe to this channel.